My name is Cecilia Goudanis-Huebner. My first husband, Sam Goudanis, was born on May 7th, 1991, with transposition of the great arteries, ventricular septal defect, and pulmonary stenosis. He had emergency open heart surgery immediately after birth, and between that time and the age of 17, he underwent 4 additional open heart surgeries. When we were both 19, we met in the summer of 2010 and fell in love pretty quickly. I remember thinking when we were first talking on Plenty of Fish that we were either going to be best friends forever or get married one day. He was just somebody that was genuine and caring and kind, and I enjoyed being around. So we both connected pretty quickly and pursued a relationship. On Christmas Day of 2014, he proposed in front of both of our families, and we quickly set a date for a wedding and spent most of 2015 planning it. However, that came to a halt in August because he was admitted to the emergency room for having palpitations in his chest, and it was discovered that he had a 7-centimeter aortic aneurysm and needed another open heart surgery. This was the first open heart surgery that I was going to be around for. I had never dealt with this with him yet, so it was very new to me, and I wasn't sure what to expect. He was discharged after a couple of days so that they could make a plan for surgery. And on our way home from the hospital, we were both driving in the car, and he and I looked at each other and decided that we wanted to get married like now and not wait any longer. We just felt like we wanted to be married before having his surgery, and we realized that we probably weren't going to be able to have the big wedding that we were planning for the following year, with paying for hospital bills and surgery, and both of us being out of work for his recovery. So we figured we'd rather do it now. So we threw together an intimate wedding in 5 days and got married on September 9th in my childhood backyard with our family and our closest friends, and it was perfect. I remember him telling our photographer that he just felt so happy, and the whole day was just magical. About a month later, on October 7th, he went in for his open heart surgery, and there were just a lot of unforeseen circumstances that came up during surgery. Things did not go as planned. He came out of the surgery with a lot of complications and took weeks to even begin the normal recovery process that comes with open heart surgery. I was there with him every step of the way. I changed his dressings, I gave him baths, I played with his hair, I slept in the hospital waiting room on a chair. I was monitoring everything. I was there for everything, and it was the most exhausted that I've ever been in my life. I remember not being able to fully care for myself at the time because I was so worried about his well-being and his health. It was really tough. But I look back at that now and realize that I'm really honored that I got to take care of him in that way, and be there for him. So things started improving and were looking good, and we were hopeful for a pretty full recovery, maybe just with some new normals. But in November, we came very close to losing him. He had gone into heart failure early in the morning, and it was discovered that he was decently far into heart failure and was going to need a heart transplant, so he was placed on the transplant list. But things kind of, while they got better slowly, kind of just kept taking turns to the worst and going downhill. And I felt completely helpless. It didn't matter what we were doing. It didn't matter how hard he was fighting. Just things kept going wrong. And I felt like we kept plugging holes in a ship that just kept water from coming in temporarily, and we were just buying time, but nothing was actually fixing anything. And I started imagining what life was going to be like without him. And it was really dark. I remember thinking that it would just be really empty without him. Sam passed away at 7:36 in the morning on February 7th, 2016. I was with him, and our family and our best friends were with us. I like to think that I can write pretty well and tell decent stories, but to this day I'm not sure how to put into words the agony and heartbreak that I felt with losing him. I'll be honest, I thought I was going to die for a while, and sometimes I thought it would be easier to just not exist because it was so empty living without Sam. This person that I had grown up with for 5.5 years was suddenly gone. I didn't know what to do with myself. I pretty immediately started suffering from PTSD from his hospital stay and his death. And it interfered with me living a pretty normal life. For a while it was debilitating. But I started writing and putting my feelings into words on a blog that I wrote called Suitcase of Grief, and started sharing that in the hopes of maybe having others relate to me that have gone through something similar, or maybe have people in my life understand my grief a little bit better. And I ended up also starting to edit for a fellow widower, and he was writing some books that he wanted published, and I started editing and proofreading his books, and I found out that was something I actually really loved. I think, at the time I thought that I'd found what I wanted to do after feeling so lost. So that was a nice feeling to feel like I had a bit of a purpose again. Later on in 2016, much to my surprise, I actually met my now husband, Alaric, and I pretty instantly knew that Sam had somehow sent him to me. I just always felt like, even though the timing was not convenient, Sam must have had a hand in it. He held me through panic attacks and PTSD episodes and breakdowns, and he made me laugh when I thought I couldn't anymore. I couldn't help but love this person and be in awe of how wonderful I felt around him. Loving somebody while grieving was a complicated process, and it was very hard for both of us, and confusing, but I am so glad I took that on, because Alaric changed my life, and I found the light again. We actually got married on Leap Day this year, and we are now homeowners in Wisconsin, and I don't know where I'd be without him. I decided on a whim to go back to school in the fall of 2018, and I'm currently pursuing my bachelor's in professional writing and publishing at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. I'm sorry, University of Wisconsin in Whitewater. I applied to Madison. I remember Sam and all that I do every day, and I wouldn't know the beauty of deep love or the appreciation of life without him, without having known him. I talk about him whenever I can to keep his memory alive and allow others to know him through me and through my stories. I volunteer with Conquering CHD now to tell his story and to advocate for those that have similar issues as him, or for families that are going through something similar, and to bring knowledge to congenital heart disorders that others might not know about. It's a platform that I feel very honored to be a part of and to use, so that Sam is never forgotten, and that others with CHD or loved ones that care for someone with CHD never feel alone.